that is recruited from the village because of they run very well. Because the running is part of the recruitment.
The sense of communication is to establish common understanding. And if that common understanding can be achieved by using the Kiswahili medium, so be it.
So
Because
would you
Kiswahili,
consider that for the vetting?
Yes, if an officer comes up and says that, I'm sorry, Chairman, I'm only able to communicate effectively in Kiswahili, we'll say, run on. Because that is a national language. It's acceptable, it's used in Parliament, it's a business language. We will vet them in Kiswahili. Because they don't necessarily have to be fluent and eloquent in the English, no, in the spoken English.
But will that not indicate that actually they are not fit to be if they cannot speak English?
Well,
it will not count against them.
You see, the police officer is considered fit because of the skills they display. A person may not be able to speak so eloquently in English, but is able to understand the demands of an officer, the duties and responsibilities of an officer, and can discharge those duties even without speaking. Because there are places where an officer will be able to work, and they are not expected to communicate with the public. If they are in the back rooms, why will the officer have to be exposed to that situation? And I'll tell you, even in the media, there are people who are very good at writing, but they're not good at articulating. Yeah, sure. There are people who work for this, this media house, yeah, and their job out there, it does not include the need for you to be very eloquent. Yeah. So that should be accepted among the police. It is with the doctors, it is with the teachers and the nurses. And therefore, we should not look at police officers as an esoteric group that must have everybody speaking like they were born to just do the speaking and communication.
Okay, Jane wants to pick up on the gender issue and says the chairman is not answering straight and is beating about the bush on gender balance. It's 0%. A year now, how many police stations has he visited? It sounds like Jane is a police officer.
Jane is a police officer, but then Jane being a police officer will clearly understand that the commission is not involved in operations. Our job is policy. And for us to do policy, we need to get a lot of information on areas around which will hinge our policy decisions. The truth is that we've visited a lot of police stations.
How many?
I personally have visited 28 in the last 1 year. And those cannot be too few. I've visited training centers as well. I've been to all the institutions that offer training, Kenya Police College, APTC, and so forth, all the provincial training centers, because the commission is in charge of training. And I've visited at least 28 police stations, including Kabete here, including Central Police Station. We don't have to announce that today we are going to Kabete Police Station, and we call the media and say, please come and focus here. We've done that. And apart from that, we have got a specific committee, which has been headed by an officer called a commissioner, the vice chair. Her job has been to go around, assess the conditions in all police stations, look at police housing, and unfortunately she passed on.
Condolences,
yes.
Yeah.
But she had visited nearly the whole country, so Kavulundi doesn't have to go there as a person. We have another commissioner, Commissioner Owor. Her job is to manage a committee on the improvement of police stations. And she's traveled across this country in an effort to understand those conditions. We have a commissioner who is in charge of a committee responsible for traffic management, Commissioner Musengi. And he too has been traveling very widely. I have policy issues to handle. I also have coordination to carry out. So I can't pretend I'll visit every police station. But whenever we find the time and it's in our program, I do so.
Mutegi's question about the separation of families. Hello, Cheche. I'm willing to marry a female police officer, but I'm faced with a big challenge. She's posted in the Rift Valley, and I'm working in Garissa County. I foresee a situation where we can only meet during our leave periods. What mechanisms does the NPSC put in place to take care of family linkages? Ibrahim in Garissa.
A good question. All it means, and I want to be very open and very frank here, we have not started looking at that aspect.
When
but
will
as a
you
commission,
start?
But as a commission, you know, we need first of all to put in place policies that link us to other ministries and government departments. We're talking about a police officer, and we are talking about a person who is in another sector. it will be useful for us to get to understand the needs of every individual police officer and the family linkages that go with it. Because you see, we may as well say this police officer goes to join the husband who is a teacher. And the Ministry of Education, the TSC, transfers that teacher further on to a place where there isn't a police station or a police institution. How will we ensure that they are all the time together? So as far as possible, our policy, and our policies are still in the making, it doesn't take a year to make policies, is to align ourselves to other government departments and ministries which make decisions and which have got a human resource-based management, so that we are able to collaborate in such a manner that we ensure family and also state security go hand in hand.
As we have seen, one major problem with the police is corruption, and it's always written high, most high corruption. Yes. And one way of eliminating, or at least improving on eradication of corruption, is computerization. How soon do you think you will be able to computerize police stations?
As soon as we have adequate funding, because it's expensive. It's been budgeted. It's been budgeted for. Proposals have been made. The Inspector General of the National Police Service has made his presentations, including the equipment that is required. If the Inspector General is given the requisite funding, one of the things that the Police Service Commission would like to ensure is that, number one, the huge books you go to police stations and it's called an OB,
the OB book,
are replaced with an electronic processing device that also ensures the sharing of information with other police units. That is so important today that the only thing that hampers us is the finance.
But why don't you start with the police training? If you have computers and all of those places for training, yes, so that you start by training guys who are coming on. You will not put computers in a police station like Central where the policemen don't even know, they will not even know how to deal with it.
I agree with you. Today, part of police training is to be computer literate. And also,
so you've overhauled the curriculum?
The curriculum is changed to the extent that it has to conform to today's needs. In information keeping, in information sharing, it's no longer where officers must go longhand. And it is also important to note that even officers who are entering the service now are young people who are keen to improve themselves professionally. So even if we don't send them for training, they are on their own going to train in ICT. And if you look at the range of certificates that are held by most police officers, it's just they don't have the equipment, but they are very well trained. And I want to assure the public that the police officer that you see is not an illiterate person. Most of them have got good certificates. And if, for example, those who live in Nairobi, you are to go to most of the universities where studies are offered in the evening, there are very many police officers, either doing IT or doing human resource management or taking a bachelor's degree in matters of security or a bachelor's degree in any other aspect that is considered important to them as they advance in their profession.
We'll pause there. This is Cheche, live on Citizen TV. Our guest this morning is the chairman of the National Police Service Commission, Johnstone Kavulundi. We'll see you after this break.